Gathered friends, listen again to our legend of slinging fruit at the local wildlife.
Across several alternate timelines.
Exactly. I'm your main host, Max Dudek, and with me are my lovely other hosts. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, Big Glibb.
I am Liam, also known as Vahkiti.
And I'm the hot one.
Indeed, you are, Josie.
Yes.
And with us, of course, we have a special guest this week. Please introduce yourself as well.
Hi, I am joint-Dogg, sometimes with a 666 on the end, and I have thought more about Bionicle Quest for the Toa than I have about any other video game I've ever played.
Very
which
good.
speaks more to me than it does to the quality of the game, which is just fine.
You think about Quest for the Toa about as much as I think of Legend of Adanui.
Yeah, probably.
Alrighty, so Max, give us some direction here. What we doing?
Well,
Indeed.
we got a weird one.
We doing?
Yes, we do.
For the episode in general, we got 3 versions of the same story, which are kind of different. One of them is more different than the others.
One of these things is not like the others.
One of these things is dead! No, right.
But that's not the first thing we'll be doing. We'll start with The Great Takara, which is the shortest story by Archangel.
I have 3 whole notes for this.
Same.
Nice.
Also, one thing I did want to note real quick before starting is that Archangel of Justice, he has some really good writing, but we really wanted to have him as a guest. We found out midway through the process of trying to get a hold of him that apparently he has just completely vanished from the internet since the time that Gonal originally got in touch with him. His Discord messages are gone. His Twitter has been completely wiped. There's almost no trace that he even existed in the first place, and nobody knows where he went. So if you're out there, we love your work. Please get in touch. We'd love to still have you on for the Writer's Room episode later down the line.
Max,
that'd
be
that
awesome.
is amazing.
Yeah.
Of all the things I expected you to say this recording, that was one of the least of them. of all the things I expected you to say, that was one of the least things.
It is a very strange situation, but hopefully we'll figure it out sometime, just not in time for this episode, unfortunately.
I am a very strange situation. This is another league entirely.
For now, though, let's pour one out for Archangel.
Indeed.
No, I have to pay for those drinks.
It's okay. Anyway, so The Great Takara. It's pretty short, and it has our boy Jala and the Takoro Guard. They've just come back from defending Takoro from some Rahi, right? And our boy Nuri starts harassing Takua, who's leaving or whatever. And Jala's like, "Hey, that's pretty cringe, my dude. Don't do that."
I
In
do
those
kind of
exact
like as well
words.
how this story, I don't remember if it was mentioned anywhere else before. I feel like it was, but I do like how this expands a little more on the origin of the charred forest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. They set the forest on fire to stop the wild animals.
Local fauna is not nice.
Yes, the wild animals were being mean and angry, huh? So they set the forest on fire. See, I always figured that it was the Rahi that set the forest on fire, but it's implied here that they did it on purpose to
Something
stop
like
the
a fire
Rahi. Because if they hadn't set the forest on fire, the Rahi would have destroyed the village, which I guess makes sense.
If they didn't set the forest on fire, then the Rahi would set the forest on fire, and we can't have that.
Oh, the Rahi would kill us.
You can't destroy my village if I destroy it first.
The only way to stop Makuta from burning the forest is to burn the forest yourself.
Exactly.
And there's no forest.
Exactly.
This is one of the common things that I will just say randomly because I have autism is repeating the lines from the famous line from Smokey the Bear, "Only you can prevent forests," and then just ending it there. Only you can prevent forests.
So yeah, it became a luscious green forest into a goth forest.
Indeed.
Quite the
Anyway.
glow up. Quite the glow up, if you ask me.
I agree. So
We're just going to pretend that environmentalism, that climate change isn't real, because otherwise these jokes are kind of cringe.
Yeah, a big robot
that's
will come
okay.
and fix it if we break the
We're
world.
talking about a fictional world. It's okay.
Yeah, none of this is real. None of this shit's supposed to be here. Oh,
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on. So so Jala's just kind of thinking about like, there's so much to do. There's so much to defend, but I only got a few guys. I don't have enough people. So while Jala's stressing about being understaffed,
maybe the Turaga should just build more.
no,
They
we don't
could
have that anymore.
No, they totally couldn't.
Do we still have those machines? Because I don't think they brought them. I think
Because
they're
they
built
have-
into Metro Nui, right?
Because they have the ability to upgrade, and
But I
don't
feel like
know.
that's a different process from creating new life.
yeah,
Because you
It's
you need someone to create the mind, right? And I think that's what the
Yeah.
machines on Metro Nui would do. But like,
And I guess like we're going back to sort of headcanons here, though I guess this whole thing is a headcanon in a way, but like there's always been this very controversial opinion from Greg that Metro Nui only had a population of 1,000 Matoran. It's very stupid, but I think the way we've kind of decided to work around it, in our heads at least, is that it wasn't always that way. In Metro Nui's golden age, there were tens of thousands of Matoran, but during the time where Pterodax took over and Matoran started disappearing because of the Vahkiti and the Dark Hunters and whatever, he purposely culled their numbers down to 1,000 so that it would make the population more manageable.
yeah, that's
Very
messed up,
believable
Makuta.
theory.
You're kind of not nice.
And that's why Matanui is so sparsely populated now. And
Yeah, that
that's
makes
why
sense.
that would be my headcanon as to why there are so few Matoran on the island and why there seem to be so many more in Legends of Metro Nui. Just in that one shot of the Colosseum alone, there were probably like 500,000 Matoran.
What about Mask of Light during the Coley tournament? That's like the
That-
They
entire
all di-
population of the
They all
island.
died. They all died. They all died.
They all went down with Takara.
Anyway,
10,000 years of fighting wild animals
with 10,000 leagues under the lava.
10,000
Funny.
or what was it? 1,000 years. 1,000 years of fighting
Yeah.
wild animals with fruit. You gotta have a. You're gonna die,
Fruit
Wood
and
disc.
bamboo frisbees.
yes,
but you don't
Anyway.
get that until like later in the game.
Mm.
that's true.
Hmm.
But
Which
yes,
is-
so while
anyway, yes.
Jala's lamenting over being understaffed, Vakama is
Jala's
like,
lament.
"Hey, it's time to dance."
No, I must dance.
They do the haka, and it's pretty cool.
No, that's culturally insensitive. It's the Takara.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Like always, like I don't really have the time for your hippie dance circle, but I guess you're my boss.
Oh boy.
If you don't dance with the CEO, you can't be a part of the village.
So here's how ADHD works.
Vakama is the CEO of Boogie.
So here's how ADHD works. Despite having known about the Bionicle version of Takara for years now, and the company relevant to the Transformers franchise named Takara for years now, I have only just now realized that they are both called Takara.
Hmm.
Wow.
There's also an interesting note as well in that going back to Legend of Matanui for a little bit, there was always one thing in the Matanui online games that puzzled me, and I'm sure a lot of other people growing up, and that was the little ribbed pits in the center of the villages. It was sort of like a tiny little arena kind of thing. But they never got any form of use in the
Except
game.
in Legend of Matanui.
Yeah, we would find out in 2018 when that game came out that that's what they were for. And because the Matanui Online game used a lot of assets that were either directly built upon things that were in Legend of Matanui or vectorized from 3D models that were used in that game, that's ultimately what they were for and where they came from. They were just never used outside of that game, which never saw the light of day for like 20 years later.
Yes.
Yes.
Only until the fandom came and was like, let's do this thing.
Until
That's
I came. No, just kidding.
Wow. Wow, look at
Oh
this.
yes. Dancing
Yeah,
is
and
dancing is forbidden.
Indeed.
And those
that's-
little Takara pits also show up in Quest for the Toa proper.
That's
Yes.
true.
In most of the villages, I don't think Kokoro has one. So in like 5 out of 6 villages, there's just this pit there, unremarked upon. Can't
Yeah.
do anything with it.
And I
Can't do
think
anything with any
it was
of them.
probably because of the issue with the Maori that they never got used after that, because
Yes.
you know, you would see a little, like, I think in Matanui Online game, you see the Tamatoran in the background near the tunnel to Onukoro doing the Takara exactly once.
Yes.
And nowhere else in the game do you see them except for the pits. You see the pits.
Mhm.
And I think it was definitely because of that. Even though it did get renamed, they still probably didn't want to touch it because the dance itself it still held, you know, a lot of baggage with it.
Cultural
Most
significance.
definitely.
Yeah. And even in the files for Legend of Matanui, the beta version where they had already, you know, like scrubbed all reference to Tohunga and things like that, the files of the game still referred to those areas as Haka.
Mhm.
So it was definitely something they were actively working to scrub out by that point. Because in the beta, you know, those entire animated segments were just completely gone. The files were still in the game, but they were just unused.
Interesting.
So it was about a 3-month period between July of 2001 and October of 2001, where basically all reference to any of that was just completely scrubbed clean.
That must have been a nightmare.
Anyways, that was a tangent. We're
That was.
talking about
But it was relevant.
Scrub all the floors in Takoro. Scrub all the floors. Scrub all the floors in Kokoro.
Yeah, that's pretty much the story of that. Like I said, it was short. Is there anything else we want to add about the Great Takara?
I love
the
how
story.
we're
Yes.
swinging in the complete opposite direction of episode 2, where we spent like an hour on the shortest story, and now we're here. It's like, we're not even 15 minutes in yet.
That's true. Well, I feel like this one's a lot like simpler, whereas like the other one, it was like it was the shortest, but it was still longer than this one.
We had to talk about farting RoboCops.
I don't want to.
I'm sorry. I don't remember. I don't remember that. What?
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I
All
think
right.
this one can just be boiled down to Jala defeats a tiger and then they all have a dance. There's not much to talk about.
They defeat a tiger. They defeat a tiger, and then they all get swifty.
The sky full
get
of
swifty in here.
tigers. Why are there stripes on a tiger?
All right.
Alrighty, Great Turaga Max, give us direction.
Indeed.
Okay, so now we're gonna do something a little different here with the main event. since, like I mentioned, these are three different versions of the same story, which is an adaptation of the first Bionicle game ever, I believe. Is that true? Did this come out before a Matsunui Online game, or
I
at the
think
same
Quest
time?
for the Toa and Maranui Online game came out around the same time, but chronologically speaking, Quest for the Toa comes first.
Yeah, though, like Monog was also like updated like sort of monthly, so I guess like it wasn't completed until this one came out already.
That's
I guess.
true.
Yeah.
So if we're going by completion date, this is the first Bionicle game ever. Hooray!
Yeah.
Yeah, this dropped in like September of 2001. So I think just before the Kokoro update of Maranui Online game.
Okay.
Interesting.
Oh, that's later than I thought. Oh, okay.
Here's a question for you, Joint Dog, since I think you may know this more than any of us here. Did the game ever actually release with the title Tales of the Tohunga, or was it just called that up until release, and then they ended up changing it to Quest for the Toa? Because I know in pre-production and in marketing, it was still called Tales of the Tohunga.
Yeah, so in marketing, the name changed from Tales of the Tohunga to Quest for the Toa midsummer, but some places didn't get the memo and kept advertising it as Tales of the Tohunga. Interestingly enough, neither of those names is actually used in-game. The title screen just says Lego Bionicle, in the same way that the title screen for Legend of Matanui just says Lego Bionicle.
Though there are some versions of the box art that I don't think ever saw print, but early versions that were shown in like magazines did have Tales of the Tohunga written on the box.
Yeah, or just abbreviated to Tohunga.
Yeah.
And there is an unused start screen in the game that is the three virtues symbol. And
that I did not know.
Captioned Bionicle Tales of the Tohunga. I really need to update the cutting room floor page for this game. Anyway, yes. So short answer on release across all regions. The back of the box said Quest for the Toa, not Tales of the Tohunga.
Interesting.
So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna give a general summary of the game / the general story of what these have in common. And then after that, we'll go one by one and discuss our feelings on each specific version after we've summarized the general common story of them.
I will say that I may have done a little fucky wucky, and I may not have read the third version. I forgot there was a third version.
Oh no!
Oh,
you maniac!
Screw it, we're doing it live.
Anyway, all right, so here's the general summary of Quest for the Toa as a whole. Our boy Takua, the main character, has been exiled from Takara because he's a lazy bint.
And then over the course of the story, we demonstrate that he is definitely not.
It's true. He just needed the right motivation,
which is just people telling him what to do.
Yeah. So, he's on the beach. He's directed to go to Onokoro by some nobody Matoran. So
someone
he finds Vakama's fire staff in Onokoro, which is a weird place for it to be.
Yeah, nobody ever explains how it got there.
I think it's implied
not in this story.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, no. One of them, Vakama, does go, "Oh, I feel like I left that in Takara," but
yes,
I was under the understanding that it was implied at some point somewhere that like the Rahi stole it.
See, what I want to do is I want to try to put as much information from these stories together as possible. So so clearly the Makuta influenced Vakama to forget his fire staff in Onokoro. Sure.
Remember, kids, if something goes wrong, it's always Makuta.
Yes.
Makuta made me do it.
Here it's stated that the fire staff is just Vakama apparently left it here. In another story, it's stated that the Makuta hid them all over the place.
Right.
What
Yeah.
if both?
That's-
what if both?
For me, that's the way I kind of think about it, because that makes more sense to me personally.
Mm.
I'm
This
just like,
makes
the
more
Turanga
sense
are
than
always
he
holding
did.
them.
I forgore.
Because we think of
Yeah.
we think of
I'm
the,
old and senile, and I forgore.
we think of the Turaga as old, but they're the same age as the Matoran.
Matoran.
They're the same
Yeah,
age.
that's true.
They're
And
all the
technically,
same
the
age.
Toamata are older than they are.
Exactly,
Yeah.
they win. Takua's the oldest.
Yeah,
Takua's-
actually,
Yeah.
Takua's older than all of them.
Here,
Takua's the oldest being.
Wow.
the most recent thing that I just read this morning, that I just read earlier today, had what this was dialogue from the game. One of the Matoran in your adventure refers to you as little one. Because apparently
I'm older than your grandfather's grandfather's grandfather.
Yeah, so apparently the other Matoran on Matanui consider Takua to be younger than them, even though he is older than they are.
I think it's probably because of attitude.
Yeah.
It's all about personality.
Exactly.
The Turaga look and act old, therefore they are, even though they're not.
See, I'm 32, but people think I'm a blithering child.
The speed. For me,
See,
it's
that's
the
real.
opposite.
That's me.
People think I'm older than I am. But anyway, enough about ages.
Enough talk. How about you?
So he finds Vakama's fire staff on Onokoro, and he learns that Whenua has been captured by the Vatuka, which is a big rock monster. Which, that's pretty cool.
He's got some stones to kidnap a Turaga.
Rock monster, do 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 do.
No more
do,
rock
do, do,
lobsters.
do. Rock monster.
So, so Takua ventures into the caves. He finds Whenua trapped in a cage, and he frees him using the secret mechanism. And Wenua's like,
By that he means I put a rock on a button and the cage opened.
yes, exactly.
Secret
And
mechanism.
Wenua's like, thank you, traveler.
Secret mechanism.
Secret Mecca.
Secret mechanism. A big red button that says push
Takua
this
gets
to
into
push,
a Gundam to save the day?
Push
No.
this button to save old man. Secret mechanism. Secret mechanism.
Through the
Secret
mountain.
mechanism.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Secret mechanism.
This is a nightmare.
All right. So, so he gives Takua a Vololutu launcher, which is like a grappling hook, sort of.
I love this thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
yeah.
It's like the little missile piece in old Lego sets.
Grappling hook thing. No one knows how it works.
Scientists to this day are, by scientists I mean fans to this day, are still trying to figure out how the Vololutu launcher is built.
The answer is prayers. Prayers and rocks.
Yeah, even when the Legend of Matanui model was revealed, it made it no clearer how the thing was actually constructed, did it?
No, it's it's Lovecraftian. It does not make any
In
sense.
universe, these stories.
Non-Euclidean geometry.
In universe,
Yeah.
these stories.
Amatorian.
In universe, these stories state that they have no idea how it works in universe.
Yeah.
I feel like the
Hilarious.
Matoran are basically just operating on 40k orc rules, where it's just me want to work. It work.
Yes.
In one of these stories, a Matoran has made the Vololutu launcher, and they're like, I plan to make more of these as soon as I figure out where I found the Vololutu and what it even is and how it even works. I don't know what to
understand.
do.
So.
Basically, it's just a ball that sticks to things, or that suspends all kinetic force, or something.
Grappling hook.
It's, for all intents and purposes, it's a mystical grappling hook.
Yes.
It's what if a grappling hook was a ball instead of a sharp pointy thing?
It's like one of those sticky hands.
It's like
You've got ball joints, my friend.
It's a ball. It's a ball, and it sticks to things.
All right. Enough about the Vololutu launcher.
Enough about your
the-
balls.
Enough sticking your balls to things.
Stop.
Yes, I left California for this reason. Edit that out. Edit that out.
All right.
Edit that out. That was disgusting. Edit that out.
All right. So Wanua instructs Takua to deliver a message to the other Turaga. He's like, "Hey, things are getting dangerous. Please inform them of this thing that they probably already know, but they should know anyway." I'm just joshing. Wasn't exactly like that, but so but before he leaves, Takua, that is, not Wanua. Wanua's supposed to stay there. He finds the Vuada Maka tree crystal, which is what the Matoran need to like have life work.
If I hear the words Vuata Maka tree crystal one more time,
you're gonna hear it at least 6 more times, boy.
When I played this Game Boy Advance game, I thought the guacamole crystal was the. I thought it was that one Lego leaf piece.
Mm.
But
No, we had to do a lot of scrutiny of the sprites when working on the Legend of Adanui Rebuilt when we decided to put the Vuada Maka trees in the game. And we just found out that like it was just like 2 Toa feet stuck together or something like that.
No, I'm looking at it. It is a Toa arm assembly. So basically, what if Tahu's non-sword arm, and then a foot, and then the shoulder, the thing on the shoulder is jammed into the foot, and it doesn't. What possessed I guess it kind of looks like the leaf of a tree.
It was even weirder when we realized that the Amana Volo sphere was just like a rock, like Pohatu's rock, with some like toe balls attached to the bottom.
Oh.
Yeah.
Energy.
The neat thing about the tree crystals is that there are 2 halves to each crystal, and they actually have different sprites, and those different sprites are different builds and you can see in your mind, if you rotate them around like an apple or whatever, how they would come together into one larger construction. It's just a neat detail.
I'm just imagining that one scene from Doctor Strange where he's reversing time on the apple, but it's just the spinning tree crystal.
Yeah.
Good point.
But yeah, that's the one thing that I thought was missing from Tale of the Toa Stones, is that there was absolutely no mention of the Vuada Maka trees.
good. If I hear it one more time, I'm going to Maka Vuata in my trousers.
You're gonna hear it 6 more times.
Vuada Maka.
No.
You've just summoned
I need at least 6 for later.
So how about that new Beetlejuice movie?
Congratulations, you just summoned a Bo Matoran to kill you in your sleep.
Good.
All right.
Ivari's gonna come back for revenge.
Oh no.
Oh no! I thought we blew
has
up
beef
the
with
Red
us.
Star.
So he finds the tree crystal and the Toa stone of Onua, because we need to gather them because they've been missing, hidden, something.
Shenanigans.
Some of them seem hidden. Some of them seem in completely random places. One of them is just straight up, how are you supposed to ever find this? It's in like a random hollowed out part of a cave that's not in any way accessible without destroying the wall of the cave.
In one of these stories, Takua discovers it by accident.
Yeah.
It just blows up like a bat or something, and the wall falls over. Ta-da!
Yep. Glorious.
So we find the Toa stone. We need that. Yoink. And then he goes to Gakoro. And when he gets there,
you gotta do a race.
Yeah, you gotta play the drums real
You're
good
not allowed
so we
in.
can row.
You're not allowed in unless you participate in the boat race. And then when he gets into the boat race, he's like, They're like, no, we were just messing with you. We just wanted someone help. We just needed an extra racer for the boats, and
I love that. I love how that's like a direct reference as well to the fact that none of these mini games actually matter. Win or lose, they'll still let you past.
Yeah, they just want to have fun, man.
Yeah. Maku seems genuinely upset that they wasted so much time making him do a boat race.
Yeah, because during that time, Nokama has been kidnapped. Oh no.
That was the fastest kidnapping ever.
Yes, and not only kidnapped, but kidnapped by a big dang toad.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Who apparently just wants to protect his home, but only after he's stolen the Turaga.
Yeah, no, that's it's like King Kong.
Yeah, it's like King
the Kika
Kong
toad on top of the Coliseum, just carrying Nokama.
It's like it's just
airships
like King Kong.
Flying around.
Airplanes. We're gonna blow up. We're gonna blow up the big. Let's just remake King Kong, but with frogs.
I think we have our thumbnail, boys.
Yes, I do like frogs a lot, so that's good. Anyway, so we free Nokama, because we are the player, aka Takua, and Nokama's like, it was just
Excuse
kind of
me, his name
itself.
is Blorpo, and he has every disease.
Except, oddly enough, COVID.
Huh.
Oh.
Oddly enough.
It wasn't invented yet. This is 2001.
No, it was because he was wearing a mask.
Yeah, they're all wearing masks. They're all good.
Okay, random side tangent, but I would always like the saying like hold your horses or keep your pants on or things like that.
Hold your rahi.
No, I would always say like keep your mask on. But then when the pandemic hit, that took on a whole other connotation.
And now it's sad. Now it's a sad thing to say.
See what I do to avoid my words taking on new meanings is I just don't talk to people.
You just speak in complete non sequiturs all the time. Then your words have no meaning to anyone.
There's also that everything I say sounds insane. Of course, then we run into the issue of when you become famous and everyone thinks you're insane.
So after freeing Nokama, Takua he finds the Gakoro Watamaka tree crystals and the Toa Stone of Gali.
The Toa Stone of Gali just being on a cliff. It's just on a cliff, guys. How did you not find this?
It's up an elevator.
It's scary, man.
It's a very steep cliff.
To get to it.
Scary. We want to
elevators.
Race. Anyway.
Our senile grandmother was kidnapped and we don't know where to go.
But that happened while we were racing. We weren't aware of it until it was too late. Anyway. So, next is Pokoro. He finds two Pomatorin. One of them's under a boulder and is like, help me. I'm trapped.
Help me, step bro. I'm stuck.
No. No, don't say this.
Big bro can just cut the meteorite in half. It's fine.
Yeah. So and they were playing Coley.
That's a Homestuck reference because this is a Homestuck podcast.
I see.
But yeah, so these two Pomatoran were playing Coley and they did really badly, and one of them got pinned by a falling boulder. Uh-oh.
It is criminal that Podu never shows up anywhere else in Bionicle.
Makes me sad.
Podu, the man who is sore all over from being hit by a boulder.
Yeah, poor guy.
That's his entire personality. His everything hurts. He's just like me for real.
Yeah, it's because he succumbed to his injuries later on. That's why we never see him.
No,
No!
Hodu, no.
Some would say he
Sorry.
truly had every disease.
Anyway.
What I
So,
want to
he
know about this situation, just quickly, is
Oh, yeah.
Takua arrives, and these two guys are just looking at the boulder like, goodness gracious, that's a big boulder. He lifts it up on his own. What were you doing? Why are you just sat there? How long have you been here just looking at the boulder going, if only this was simple to lift?
And Pomatoran are supposed to be strong. Like, aside from Onu Matoran, Pomatoran are like the strongest Matoran on the island. So
No, let's bring in Takua.
They were embarrassed. I don't know. That's a good question, though.
Are Avmatoran also super strong?
They might actually be stronger because they are definitely taller, at least when they're exposed to light energy.
Yeah.
It would certainly explain how Takua is able to adventure so good.
It was a
but
sunny
in that
day.
case, I feel like they would only be stronger in Cardanui when they're like enlarged.
Although
Not here.
I will add there are some nice little references in, again, Tale of the Toa Stones, when Takua gets to Tawahi and he sort of reminisces like, oh, Tawahi has always been just a little too hot for me, but I can't really explain why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that too. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We're in
love that.
Pokoro.
Indeed. We're in the slightly less hot part of the island.
In one of the stories, when he finds Vakama's fire staff, he tries to ignite it because all Matoran of fire have just enough fire energy within them to be able to ignite stuff. So basically, you can just be a lighter. You can just be a human lighter.
I will set this on fire.
Yes. So
when somebody stops a Tamatoran on the streets and asks if they have a light, they can't say no.
So Takua, thinking he's a Tamatoran, is just holding this thing in his hands. He's got his eyes closed. He's grasping it. He's firmly grasping it. And he's just thinking to himself, fire, heat, ignite. Hot burn.
Fire has no brothers. Fire consumes all.
And then eventually he thinks of other things because he's desperate, and he thinks light, and then it lights up.
That's actually quite interesting. I didn't really pick up on that.
I didn't realize that either.
Yeah, the thing lights up because he has just enough light power. Well, technically, a light Matoran have enough power to literally shoot light, but he doesn't know that.
Yeah,
true.
But he did light up the fire staff, presumably using light energy, he just assumed that it was fire.
Yes.
I'm just a Tamatoran.
There's a lot of elemental applications of light that you could easily mistake for fire. If in an alternate timeline where Matoran had more access to elemental power, he probably could be mistaken. He probably could easily mistake light for fire right up until the time he puts his mask on, because there's just a lot of overlap there. It's the same with plasma.
Sure. Yeah, that's probably why he was made a Tamatoran. Mm-hmm. Maybe.
And Earth and Stone are also similar enough that if they ever accidentally mixed up some Matoran from those villages, they'd probably never realize if not for the very distinctive colors.
I wonder if that might be relevant in a story we'll be going over later.
Oh heck, it might be. I think actually, I don't remember.
Uh-oh.
Oh, dang.
Anyway.
Oh, wait, that was last week. I'm misremembering.
Yeah.
There's another one with Taipu this week.
I also misremember time periods of time. Time isn't real.
So
what is real is Bionicle. Fetch quest.
Fetch quest time.
So he finds Onowin in a cage once again.
I love that they're all in cages.
In a
except for, like,
cage.
Luigi.
Yeah.
How did they get in these cages?
The animals.
Animals.
Makuna just like hand fashioned some cages for the Turaga and gave them to Samurahi.
Some Rahi and some
Makuna's secretly
elemental
like
creatures.
a basket weaver.
I just like the
and some
idea of
elemental
like,
beings. Don't forget those.
I just like
Wouldn't
the
it be-
idea of like the frog looking at who was the Turaga again of
Anawa.
Nakama.
Gakoro is no
Nokama, yeah. I like the idea of the frog just looking at Nokama and then looking at the cage and just giving her the eyebrows like, hmm?
No,
I know what you gotta do.
Nokama wasn't locked in a cage. She was tied up by
Yeah,
a frog
that's true.
Oh,
using
God,
its frog
That
hands.
makes even less sense.
All right,
You know-
we need a speed
It's
Nakama version of Nakama now.
It's like they thought it's like the developers thought, well, it doesn't make any sense for the toad to put her in a cage. Let's have a toad tie her up instead.
Tie her up. String her up. Anyway.
Tickle her feet.
So we free Anawa from a cage. I think there was another elemental creature here, or was it birds?
It's literally just bugs.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, but you're right.
it's just
It is bugs. Yeah, bugs.
I would
and
assume
and we,
bird- I
we
would
throw
assume
fruit
bird-
at them. Do we have the disc yet? I didn't note that down.
Yeah, he
Whoops.
sees the bouncy disc in the cave and he's just like, me one.
Yes. So we throw disc at bug gets squished.
I think the birds is next.
Yes, I think you're right.
I'm always right, except when I'm wrong, which is a lot.
Yes. Sorry. That sounded ruder than I intended. I was just saying. That was just a filler word.
I agree. You always suck.
No, I use yes
Indeed.
like how people use or so or
Indeed.
whatever. Anyway,
he threw the disc at the bugs, and they do it.
yes.
They do.
They do.
So,
They
then
don't
he
think
does.
it be like it is, but it do.
it do be. So, and then after that, gets the Watamaka tree crystals and the Toa stone.
Vadamaka, 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 Vadamaka.
I agree.
All right. So after recovering the Toa stone of Pohatu, he's invited to participate in a game of Koli.
Because of course he
Ooh.
is.
A
Yeah, man.
simple game of Koli?
Because there's a goal Takua has at this point. If he wins all the games from each village, he will get a copper mask that he cannot use to power himself. It is only decorative.
He's just like, I'm trying to save the island here, but that's a nice mask.
It's shiny.
That'll look really good on my shelf.
I'm
don't
trying to
remember-
save.
Takes electricity really well.
I'm trying to save everyone from horrible animal genocide, but also a cool sports trophy is on the line.
Yeah.
They were actually given out as promotional items, but I don't
wow.
remember. I don't remember if I actually have one.
I have.
I never got one. I wasn't old enough.
I have the Huna. I ordered it from a Beezy Power reseller back in the day, but the Komau is significantly rarer and more expensive.
I need to get one of them at some point, just for the sake of
I
it.
don't think
'cause I'm a
I've
collector,
ever
damn
seen.
it.
I knew that there was a Huna and a Komau, and those were the two most common. But I don't think I ever saw photos of the Komau except the ones from Lego. I have seen plenty of photos of the Huna.
I do wish we had ever gotten a Pakari, just because that's what Takua gets in the game canonically.
Yeah.
And you simply cannot do it.
There are plenty of listings on for copper masks on Bricklink in other molds besides the Huna and the Komau, but I don't know if those are real.
Don't trust
there's
they're
a
real.
there's a lot of discourse around that kind of thing. I think joint-Dogg, you and I think Woke maybe have worked together at some point, making like a list of planned colors for Matoran and stuff from 2001 based on like IDs for parts that never actually got produced.
Yeah, I think that was Anchir put together the spreadsheet, and Wolk and KDNX did the analysis there. I had no part in it, but it is neat.
Oh, fair enough. But yeah, there are a ton of colors that were planned for some of these parts that never actually ended up getting produced.
So my theory for why Bricklink had so many listings for copper masks other than the two we know exist is because Lego's color for gold that they use for Bionicle masks is slightly different from the gold they use for any other shade of gold in any other piece.
Are we talking flat gold or pearl gold?
That's the original gold, but now that I'm
flat
on
gold then.
But I'm actually checking Bricklink now, and they have a different listing. They have, I guess, solved the issue by just having a new color listing for the color used for Bionicle masks.
Well, Bricklink has been like changing a lot of colors and stuff lately, much to people's dismay, because it's basically like writing certain colors out of existence and merging them into others.
Oh,
but that's a whole other tangent for another time.
Oh, that is actually annoying.
Yeah.
At any rate, in certain lights, it's hard to tell if a gold mask is actually a gold mask or if it might secretly be a copper mask. So people might list.
It certainly doesn't help when they released quote unquote gold masks in 2003 with the Chronicle packs, and they just look like a dull bronze.
Yeah, it depends on the lighting, actually, because I have them, and
that's
like
the one
when you have the sun on them, they look like a gold.
That's the one that I had. That's the one that I have, and it's
it sure
definitely
is
a different shade from
the
actual copper masks.
If I had the money, I would just get gold. I would just get my gold masks on Shapeways so that I know they're actually gold. Or that they actually look
we are entering an era where 3D printing and resin casting are becoming a lot more accessible. Like I've got, when shortly after Legend of Matanui came out, I ordered one of the first purple hows from Socket Ball, and it is almost indistinguishable from an actual Lego part.
Well, I own a 3D printer, and I never finished it because I couldn't comprehend the instructions because I
did not know you had one.
I told you.
We'll have to talk about that later.
Yes.
But now,
much later, because we're doing a podcast right now about Bionicle.
Yes. Anyway, enough about printing of the 3Ds. It's time for Coley. And we won. Hooray.
Wow.
That was quick.
That was quick.
Yes,
Usually
exactly.
doesn't this take like 300 tries and about 18 hours?
Yes, but we're just that good.
Takua is much better. Takua is much better than Hallie, apparently.
Oh. But yeah, now we're going to Likoro because we have a mission. Damn it!
We gotta fight the birds.
And Matau is just like, hey, wouldn't it be funny if I sent the entire Gucko force to fuck with this guy?
Hey,
don't say that.
Hey,
You said a naughty.
hey, we're not sailors anymore.
Yeah, that was yesterday when I saw Visions of Atlantis. It was the day before yesterday.
Good one.
What?
Goodness gracious.
I'm sorry. That was very silly of me.
You've been seething in the background this whole time. Just building mounting rage.
I am malding. Not actually.
What's the quote from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream?
Oh God.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Hate! Let me tell you how much I hate you.
Hate. If the word hate was tattooed on every nano-angstrom of the million miles of wafer-thin circuits that make up my complex, it would not equal 1/1,000,000,000th of the hate I hold for you right now. Hate!
Anyway.
Starting to feel it now.
I love Harlan Ellison. I haven't read nearly enough of his work, but I just know that he was hilarious. He was a hilarious person.
Mm.
Too bad he's dead.
So after a bird riding match with a local Limatoran, Takua finds Turaga disguised as a bird in a bird's nest. Whoa.
Yeah, he can do that.
I love specifically how the puzzle to get Matau out of here is to give a bunch of baby birds concussions with rocks.
Yeah, we have to.
Yep.
It's natural selection.
Child abuse.
I'll have you know those aren't babies. Those are taku, which are distinct from Gukko, and it's anyone's guess as to why they're in the Gukko nest in the first place. But Rocky don't have babies.
The Gukko is actually going to eat them later.
One of the... I don't understand why, but one of the stories does explain that the smaller birds and the larger bird have like a symbiotic relationship where like
Yeah, I was about to say.
the bigger one feeds the other ones, and when they grow up they sort of bring back food and repay it, and I find that quite cool actually.
So it's kind of like
Sure.
that one species of bird that like lays their eggs in the nest
Like
of other birds.
It's like the opposite of a mockingbird.
Yeah.
Instead of I will steal all the food from your babies, it's I'll give you food if you bring me more. These are capitalist birds.
Would the opposite of a mockingbird be called a calming bird? A comforting bird?
A reaffirming bird.
Yeah, we were on the same wavelength there.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So yeah, he knocks out all the babies with rocks.
to birth a reaffirming bird.
Yes.
This is a silly one.
I think we have our episode title, fellas.
What is it? What did you say?
To birth a reaffirming bird.
Oh, that's good. I like that, actually. We shall see if we come up with anything better during the rest of the episode.
Can't be worse
Right.
than farting the ball wiggler.
I hate that title so much.
Okay.
Which came out today. Came out on the channel today as of recording.
I am somewhat. I am
also somewhat.
I am somewhat remembering that part. I talked about the ball wiggler a lot.
You people are too much. Anyway.
What do you mean? What do you mean, you people? What do you mean, Max? What do you mean? What do you fucking mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
yes,
you.
yes. I am not. I am not people.
Moving right along.
Moving right along.
After rescuing Turaga, Ua finds these wicked things called the Watamaka tree crystals.
Watamaka tree.
I messed it up that time. But and he finds the Toa Stone.
Yay.
Hooray! And it's time to move on to the
The
coldest place on
Watamaka
Matanui.
stone.
My goodness. It's
Time
both
to
at
go
the
into
same
the
time.
mountains where we have to fight giant snowbirds for some reason.
Yes. We fight big dang birds. But I think before that, we have a big snowball fight. And it's really cool.
Also known as the one singular minigame that got ported to Flash for some reason and put on Bionicle.com back in like 2002.
It was fun.
It was fun. It's very strange to see like part of a GBA game ported to Flash like that.
Earlier in one of these,
one at that.
Earlier in one of these
Emulation,
stories
boy.
during the prologue section, which is the game tutorial, it reframes the training section as just a spontaneous food fight that the Matoran have on the beach. And it's basically a snowball fight, but spontaneous with food. It's snowball fight, but with food because it's a beach and it doesn't. It's
Sandball fight.
They don't. That's not how sand works. So they're just like, hey, I want to have a snowball fight, but the sand doesn't work like that. Let's have a food fight. Okay.
pocket sand
And
for
then
you.
the same studio made The Legend Reborn. The end.
Yeah.
No, can we also talk about the music for Who I Snowball Sling absolutely slaps?
Oh yeah.
I forgot how
Slap,
it
slap,
goes.
Clap, clap, clap. Slap, slap, slap. Clap,
No
clap,
Jimmy
clap.
Neutron for you.
All of the music in this game slaps. If only we
And-
knew who actually made it.
Do we not? I thought we
Is that a
did.
thing?
It's up for debate, right?
I know it. I don't think it was. Crap. What's his name that did Legend of Matanui? I don't think he did that. David Madden. Yeah, I don't think it was him that did that.
Any relation to John Madden?
I was just about to say.
I think David only oversaw the sound design for Quest for the Toa, but otherwise his focus was on Legend of Matanui. I think I have... Who do I have down on the Biomedia project? For it, let me have a look here. Where is Quest for the Toa? Okay, for some reason I have it as David Madden. That should probably be changed at some point. I think it was like Eric Nunamaker or something like that.
Yeah. So there are 3 people credited for audio and 1 person credited for audio director, Lance LeVar. And the last I heard was you got in touch with LeVar and he said that a local drama a local drummer named Todd Sorensen probably made the soundtrack.
Yeah, that's right too. I do have him on LinkedIn. Let me double check because I do remember that, and that was one of like the last messages that I had on here.
Yeah. I just wish that the credits for the game were a little bit more granular, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to once again invoke ADHD, but I have just noticed that I have a page open of images of copper bionicle masks, and I can say right off the bat I can see exactly what the difference is between copper masks and the gold masks as distributed by the 2002 Chrono packs. So there is obvious confusion in that gold bionicle masks tend to look more coppery because gold and copper are just very similar materials visually. Copper bionicle masks are more reddish or pinkish, whereas the gold used in 2002, the gold bionicle masks in 2002 were more of a dull brown.
So the gold is more copper and the copper is more bronze.
Yeah. Also, I
Yes.
brought up the messages here. Yeah, it says David did not do the GBA compositions, and neither did I. It was a local drummer composer that I contracted for those songs named Todd Sorensen.
Well, thank you,
That's
Todd,
good,
for
Todd.
the good old snowball music.
And I'll have to
Thank you,
remember
Todd.
to
Music slaps.
and I'll have to remember to update the soundtrack on Biomedia Project at some point.
Indeed.
Yes, please.
So they threw big balls of snow.
Yes, and we win.
We win again.
So after that, we rescue Nuju, who's in a pickle. He's in a bind. He's in a conundrum.
He is indeed.
He's the only
although he
Turaga
is-
who isn't tied up or in a cage.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
just
he's
about
just
to say,
like, hey.
he's in a bind, but I do like how capable he is here. Like, he's not sitting around and waiting to be saved. He's even got, like, a crystal already. Like, he's doing good. Why are we here?
Well, it's because Nuju's one of the coolest guys.
I'll give you that one.
even without his binocular binocular, he is still a cool guy.
Matau broke. Anyway,
Matau
Yes, you're
broke
correct.
while trying to kill him.
yes,
Or
that was
something.
very sad. So Nuju directs Takua to find the village's elements of melting, which they require to have drinking water, which is kind of important to live.
Tweet. Bird noises. Bird. Tweet. Bird noises.
I
Bird
keep
noises.
saying-
Tweet.
They keep saying element of heating, by the way, and that just brings to mind a heating element. Like, I'm just picturing a naked toaster.
Yes.
Really? On my end, I kept seeing elements of melting.
Yeah, that was it. Element of melting.
Okay. I thought I
I'm
was
just
crazy.
picturing a heating element there. Like, what do you mean element of melting?
Takua, this is very important. I need you to find my space heater.
If I
Like in a world
recall,
where elemental energies are an actual thing, find me the Tower of Melting.
I
If I
need
recall
my
from-
heat
if I-
stone.
Where is my stove, Takua?
I need my camping stove.
Technically, if Takua has enough energy in him to light the thingy in his dew, then he can. Automatoran could just probably start slowly melting ice just by touching it.
He just has to stand there and things around him melt. All they have to do is they just have a Automatoran just sit on a block of ice and then they get their drinking water.
Yep. Although
Yeah.
with Takua would be a lot less quickly because Takua isn't actually full of fire. He's full of light, and light is less hot than fire. Light does produce warmth, but not as much.
Yeah.
This is a tangent about how hot the boys are.
No, don't say this. We're gonna
Anyway,
get taken
so if
by
I
the
recall-
Rahi.
So if I recall correctly, what the element of heating or whatever looks like is it's a little.
We're back to
It
that.
looks like a little canister with
Element of
a light stone.
surprise!
It looks like a miniature canister with a light stone in it. So it's basically a lighter.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
No,
the heat
that's
stone,
what-
right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what the heat stone in Minog looks like, but the element of melting in the GBA game is just one of the Rock Raiders crystals.
Yes,
which
it is
actually makes
magic.
it makes it the most important thing in Bionicle because that is what connects it to the Well of Time and the
Stop.
Fableverse.
Enough
No.
of this.
Wait a minute. Wait. So does that mean that the element of melting melts things with radiation? If it's an energy crystal from Rock Raiders, then it's melting things by virtue of being radioactive enough to power stuff.
Oh dear.
No.
They're basically just pulling the powers. It is basically a backwards toaster.
Yeah, they gotta
No,
do
but
this to
no,
me.
this isn't the insides of a toaster. This is the insides of a microwave. They're micro. This is
microwaving snow.
this is a reverse microwave.
No,
I think we can microwave snow.
Nuju just took a microwave, ripped the door off, and now he has his element of melting.
Anyway, so the presence of an energy crystal.
Don't point it at an airship now.
Anyway, so the presence of an energy crystal means that Bionicle is officially canon to everything Lego has ever produced because everything has been connected in some way.
So
But
says the
I'm
Lord and
going to
Savior,
not.
Christian Faber.
No,
Yep.
he's wrong.
Rock Raiders is canon to the Legoland PC game because they are energy crystals in Legoland in the Legoland PC game.
Oh,
The-
don't forget Junkbot.
The guy
Oh.
who makes the rides
yeah.
in Legoland is the uncle or grandfather or something of the Ghost Racer from Lego Racers. Lego Racers is just full of crossovers with other IPs. And then there's Lego Island, which also is a
I don't-
thing.
All right, that's enough of these silly crossovers. It's time for serious business. We gotta find the elements of melting. And we found it.
We gotta find Nuju's
Yes.
broken microwave.
We just got to find the element of melting. Well, let me just go into this gas station and pay $1 for this cheap lighter.
And guess what else we found besides the elements of melting, guys?
Could it be a crystal?
Yes, the Watamaka tree crystals and
Goodness.
a Toa stone.
Oh wow!
We
Wow.
get the Toa stone after we go back to Nuju. He's like, hey,
Yay.
Yay!
here you go.
Hey.
Time to get
Nuju.
him. It's almost time to get amnesia, but it's just one more place to go first.
The future. Anyway, it's time to go back home, which Takua is not looking forward to because, he was kicked out of there for being a lazy bint, as I mentioned at the beginning.
I love that he gets back there, and the first thing anyone says to him is, I bet you stole that stuff, you cross-wired freak. God damn, Soita, calm down.
Yes, that was indeed one version of this. They were real rude to him.
Was that actual dialogue in the game, or was that a thing that was
No,
said?
that was not in the game, I don't think.
No, that was in one of the versions of the story.
It was in Bionicle 2, the movie, right? That's where it came from?
I don't remember every little thing. I remember most little things, but I don't remember every little thing.
I think Vakama tells Oniwa about his visions at some point, and Oniwa's like, yeah, I don't believe you, you cross-wired freak. Or something like that.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, those.
No, Vakama says it himself.
Oh, does he?
He calls himself a cross-wired freak.
Huh. Okay.
Because he's sad.
Vakama and his visions.
In Legends of Metronui, Mato just says, are you cross-wired to Vakama? And then later on, Vakama's like, I'm a cross-wired freak. But
wow.
But Ottawa just says, you've been
visions,
spending too much time in front of your forge, Fire Spitter.
Oh,
those
right.
visions,
Yeah.
those visions are the reasons that I still think that he is just always connected to the Mask of Time because of the one time he actually did use it.
Interesting.
Interesting indeed.
Why else would he be getting visions? He's not a Toa of psionics.
Mental
He
illness.
might just be absolutely off his rocker.
But that's okay. Anyway, so we get back to Takara. People don't like that Takua's there, because he just kind of goes against their society.
By refusing to serve capitalism.
I don't want a job.
In this case, it's a matter of survival. That's a little different. So, Vakama is being harassed by Mahi, which is very sad. And Takua, makes them leave.
I do specifically like how in the Tale of the Toa Stones version of this story, they integrate the idea of him, just a one-off line from the speech at the end of Maranui Online Game where Vakama mentions, you found my staff and my mask. And in canon, I don't think it's ever really explained that he ever lost his mask. So it was very funny to see this version of the story where he's just there wearing a mahiki.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Like that
I do
a lot.
also like that Vakama does he takes his staff back off of Takua. And he's just like, well, you're pretty bad at your job. I don't like you. So you could save the island, but first go get my mask. Go find some goats.
Go find a goat and get me my hat back. You could save the whole world and our society and all that, but I really want my hat.
Never mind that I've got 5 others on my wall.
Including one that is
And
functionally identical.
Never mind
Functionally identical. If I wanted my old mask so bad, the one I'm wearing right now, I can just magic up an illusion that'll make it look like I'm wearing my old one.
Never mind the fact that I have 5 more on my wall and am one of the only people on this island capable of making more.
It really is just so lazy.
Oh, we got no Kanoka. We're out. They're out of juice.
How'd they make Kanoka?
That is one thing, actually, that's kind of relevant to this, but also a lot more relevant to the next story, and very relevant to what we went over in previous episodes when we were talking about Marinui. When we were talking about Marinui, and I think that was the last episode, second to last episode. I'm losing track. Point is, they comment about how Kanoe coming down from Voyanui are so valuable because if you break your mask in Marinui, you can't make more. And that makes me wonder, if there are no mask makers on the island of Maranui, which is basically all but stated in the next story that we're going over, why do they not have the same problem as Maranui?
Lots and lots of
do.
dead Matori. Lots of dead Matori.
Vakama just takes like secret dives back into Metronui every so often to collect some masks.
Yeah,
Hey, Liam, do you remember all
I
those
do have a
Matori?
note about that in the next story.
Don't they figure out how to purify infected masks at one point?
I think so.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, once you
Well,
figured
look-
that out, you just have to kill a bunch of Rahi, right?
At least the problem gets solved eventually after thousands of years of baby death.
But like, I don't think Rahi even need Kanohi. They just wear them.
Yeah.
For
It's a
funsies.
fashion statement.
Yeah. I think they might just have like an instinct to do it because it's like maybe it like gives them extra juice.
Yeah.
But like they don't require it to like stay conscious.
Yeah, it's like
Right.
it's like the Pokemon that have specific held items that only work for them, that they'll sometimes just be holding in the wild for no real reason. Like, they just instinctively found these things, sought them out, picked them up, and just don't want to put them down, and they fight
And
using them.
It also kind of brings up an interesting question that I never really considered before, but now I'm thinking about it both in reference to this and the next story. Can Rahi be taken over by Krana?
Yes. Why would
Yeah.
they?
Because
be?
we've never seen that, to my knowledge.
That's true. We have never seen that.
Why wouldn't we? Why wouldn't they be?
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
it would be so much easier.
We know Gali can be taken over by a Krana, but we didn't see that happen. So
It would be so much easier for the Bolrock swarms to take control of Rahi as well, because assuming they don't normally wear Kanohi, but still have, a Kanohi input port, or whatever you want to call it, all they would have to do is just launch a Krana at any random Rahi, and they wouldn't even have to bother taking off a mask to make room for it.
maybe the
And there are
process
so
is
many
different.
more Rahi than there are Matoran.
No, but
And
here's
they
the
won't
thing.
fight back.
Wait.
The Krana do have little leggies, apparently.
Yeah.
They can move around, so it's not like if they miss flinging it at the Rocky that they even necessarily. And it's not like the Rahi are probably used to bugs flying at them. There are some animals in real life who symbiotically it's just part of their life cycle that bugs will just live on them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Crocodiles often have birds living on top of them, picking the bugs off of them.
Yeah.
Yes. But here's the thing, though, that we might not be considering. Like, I think Krana work differently than Kanohi fundamentally. Because it's like, because Kanohi give power to Matoran universe inhabitants, right, of some sort. But Krana are for like mind. They're like they do like a mind control sort of thing. So maybe it's required that they have to be on a face.
Well, how is
Or a
that
head
any
or whatever.
different? How is that any different than the interface for infected masks? That would be my question.
Plus the Borak thingy, the Borak
The
Borak's interface.
The Borak coming.
No, because
The Borak
usually
have a
it's
com- the
different.
Borak-
Because
the
usually those
Borak have a com-
interface. It's different because usually those interfaces are not on the face of the Rahi. They're not like attached to the head.
All right.
This is true. I guess the Borak's interface doesn't. The Borak's interface is clearly different than what normally a mask goes on, but because it's in the head region, it counts as a face.
Yeah, but also like I'd imagine the Borak are specifically designed for the Krana because that just makes sense, right?
Well, yeah, they were created at the same time, probably.
Yeah.
Well,
so it's
another
like,
thing to consider too, Borak Va, they have the Krana on their backs.
no, but that's just to carry it.
Yeah, they're not they're fully autonomous. They're not controlled by the Krana at all, if
True.
I recall correctly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
correct.
Anyways, we're getting off on a tangent here.
That's true.
Yeah,
But yeah.
the Borak aren't even in this.
Mm-hmm. You're right. Anyway, my bad. Let's
But you
find
know
the
what is
crystals.
in this?
Watamakashi crystals.
Ostriches. Lots of ostriches.
Yes,
Exactly. They are
So
running.
many. Why are there so many ostriches? This is a terrible vacation.
So we
I'm
deal
dead.
we deal with the Husi. Running across the lava or next to it. I cannot remember which one it was.
That Husi be running.
Yes.
That
Yes.
Husi be lava-ing.
What does Lucy do?
No.
It runs.
I always mentally pronounced it as hussy.
I don't like that though.
Homestuck podcast.
Anyway,
I told
we
you,
got a
bro.
toe
I
stone.
told you about the birds, bro.
I told you about the birds, bro.
So after eventually recovering the last Toa stone that we needed, so we surf on some lava. That's pretty rad. That's another thing we do at Tawahi. After
stuff.
we've done our little side quests, first of all we got the copper mask because we won all the challenges. Hooray!
Whee!
And then finally Vakama takes Takua to Kininui, the great temple, but not that one. And he is congratulated by the Turaga. They're all like, "Oh, look at you, my boy! You've done it." Gives them back all their staves, that because he's been collecting them throughout this journey. I forgot to mention. All of them misplaced it, which is
Every single one of them is old and senile, despite being exactly the same age as all of the Matoran. Every single one, except Takua.
affects your brain.
Being old affects your brain, even if you're not.
But their brains have been transformed into old brain,
They're
like physically,
They've
They've got a mild case of serious brain damage.
They've got
Josie liked that one.
So after being congratulated like Shinji in that one scene, he gathers the toe stones, puts them in the little Majinui, and it is to summon the Toa, our heroes, our boys and girl. And there's a beacon up in the sky, which unfortunately takes Takua with it, and he goes up and away,
up into the air. And in one of these stories, he doesn't fear. He is not afraid. He is not afraid of being flung into the air because
in one of these
energy.
stories, he gets protected on the way down because he makes his way down after gravity is like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to do something here.
In his final moments, Takua feels no fear.
Yeah.
Yes,
but no, canonically, he definitely has amnesia after this because he fell really big. He bonks his head real bad.
Yeah, he
And
bonks
then
his
he
head on the
has-
sand and he passes out.
And then he does Nog.
Exactly.
I do
And then-
absolutely love how these games are so well coordinated that the exact ending scene of this game is exactly where the starting scene of Monog picks up.
I would
Yeah,
just
for real.
love. I would just love a little playset of this scene of the Majinui and it just. There's a play feature to fling a Matoran as hard as possible into the air.
You joke, but I have wanted to, as sort of like a sequel to the some of the sets we've done for Spirit Forge, I want to do a series of 01 play sets, and that is a really fun idea for one. So I may keep that in mind.
Yeah, I would love to have something
Welcome.
like that IRL.
Just you plug all the little toe stones into the thing, and then boom, the baby goes flying.
Yeah.
Like
Yet
fire
another
asshole.
Lego set that's excellent for taking children's eyes out. Yeah.
They don't need them. We got cyborg eyes now. I'm fairly certain they got robot eyes now. I'm fairly certain there are robot eyes.
We're probably in Star Trek. Yeah.
I'm fairly certain there will be robot eyes within the next 40 years.
Okay. That's the end of Quest for the Toa as the story goes. Now, let's get
Nice.
into the individual versions of it.
Indeedy.
Hmm.
Are we going to go over masks quickly as well? Because masks were sort of separate.
Oh yeah, that's the last one. I mean, like, let's go into our thoughts on each individual version.
Sounds good.
I kind of went over a lot of my points as we went along, but the one note that I have that we didn't go over was sort of similar to the reference of the heat of Tawahi being too much.
Yeah,
I do like the
waves in the mango volcano.
I do like also that the Toa stones light up when he holds on to them. They start glowing, which is I feel like personally feel like that's kind of a reference to the fact that Takue is destined to become a Toa.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
That's Tale of the Toa Stones, right? Or is that the other one?
Or maybe because he's a boy of light.
True. Yeah, that was Tale of the Toa Stones.
Yeah.
He's a lake boy.
Yeah.
He's got boy energy.
For Tale of the Toa Stones, I would say that that's my favorite version of the 3 that we read for this sort of section of story. I to be honest, I found in Quest for the Toa, I found the working in of NPC dialogue and interactions, that was quite interesting. And I bet it was really fun from a writing perspective, but from the viewer's point of view, it just gets repetitive. Like, I can't
Which Quest for the Toa are we talking about? The long one or the
long one?
Yeah.
I think we're talking about the one that was like a 1-to-1 retelling of the game, as opposed to taking any creative liberties with it.
The one that was 7 chapters.
I found these stories all too similar to really differentiate them in my mind. I remember bits and pieces of one and bits and pieces of other, and I was reading one and Liam told me I could stop reading, and I was like, thank you! Thank you!
Yeah. My personal favorite was actually the longer one, which was the one adapted by Michael Larson and edited by Jeff Douglas. It was part of Tales of the Matoran.
Oh right, real people made these. I didn't hate any of them, mind you. I just
we had to read them all back to back, so it was
I have mentioned that I have ADHD, right? It actually it almost hurts me to sit down and read the same thing multiple times over and over again.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. I think it was interesting to see the multiple perspectives of how you can tell the same story. That was okay. That was pretty good.
Yes. If my ADHD was regulated better, I would have had a blast this week. But this is the world we live in, and I felt like I was in hell for the last 2 weeks trying to get through this stuff.
But full disclosure, once again, I somehow managed to miss reading the Tales of the Matoran version, but I will go over it for next.
That one was like the longest one. That was the one I spent like the most amount of time reading.
I will make up for that this upcoming week, and we can go over those notes at the beginning of the next episode and do like a 4.5 or something. I don't know.
Yeah, reading is so hard.
But
I've been swamped with finals. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking with it.
Yeah, something I liked about it was that like it added a lot, because like both that one and the one that Win did. Oh, excuse me. Which is like the shortest one. Yeah, that was like the shorter one.
Which one was the shorter one?
The one that was shortest one. The one also called Quest for the Toa.
Okay,
there was 2 quests for the Toas. There was one in multiple chapters, and there was one that was just like one thing.
Okay, I don't think you guys understand. The problem I was facing here wasn't how long or how short any of them were. It was how redundant they were. Time isn't real to me.
They are the same thing, but that's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's the only way I could differentiate them easily.
Time isn't real to me. Time isn't real to me. The length of the story is irrelevant to me. The fact that they were all the same was what was making it difficult for me. So I don't I don't know the difference between the short one and the long one. They were all the same length
Yes,
to me, which is
they are
infinity.
because they're all telling the same story. Yes, but that's the only way I can like differentiate it.
I'm having,
one was short.
I'm having a
They're all
tough.
telling the same
This is
story.
it's my fault. I am having a tough time making words happen at me.
Moving along.
Moving right along.
But something I liked about the longer one, which was part of Tales of
The
the Torn,
longer
was
short
that
one and the short long one.
the multiple chapter one was that like it added the most to it, like to new stuff because it had the NPC dialogue like the one that Wynn did.
The one that had the NPC dialogue all bolded and it made Quest of the Toa, feel like a prequel to Mask of Light. I read it and I was getting a lot of influences from Takua's characterization in the Mask of Light. Just like I read it in the character's voice, and it's usually difficult for me to do that because his voice was so obnoxious. But
yeah, that's the thing. Because I believe in both the NPC dialogue was bolded, but like I said, the one of them was like multiple chapters.
Okay, the one where the one. Screw it! I'm getting water.
Fair enough.
Should we wait or should we?
No, I'm still here.
Okay, my bad. All right. All right. So, but yeah, like I said, with that one, it added a lot of new stuff, and to me, what I liked about this new stuff it added, it felt very like consistent with like late other Bionicle material, like other media.
Yeah.
But though I do agree, Levi, that like, yeah, the NPC dialogue is a little bit like, oh, it does stick out a bit, It's really very obviously like NPC dialogue, and I'm like,
I found it really interesting how it was worked in. Like there was words around the bolded NPC dialogue that kind of brought it into a more well-rounded story.
As a writing challenge to see if you could actually incorporate as much dialogue from that game as possible into canon and make it and justify it. It's like fascinating.
Yeah.
No, they did the best they could with the material they had.
And they did very, very good. And if it wasn't for the fact that I was reading two identical stories back to back or alongside it, I would have loved it.
There's me who read all. Three.
Who wrote our schedule for this? Was it Liam? I'm gonna blame Liam.
Me and Gonal, yes.
Okay, well,
I was reading all three. I was like, oh boy, we got three of the same story, but a little different.
Okay, well, Liam's the only one that I feel comfortable being mean to. So, Liam, fuck you.
Into the swear wiggler.
The swear wiggler we go. Wait. Wow. Why did that take us 3 weeks to three episodes to come up with? That's a good one.
We came up with that in the same episode. What are you talking about?
Swear jar, pear wiggler, swear wiggler. I don't remember this.
I remember swear wiggler. But do we have any more thoughts on the different versions that we read? Like specifically,
I have no thoughts about anything ever.
I'm sure I'll have more thoughts next week when I actually read the third one.
My final thoughts for this are basically just that if I hear the words Fuwatamaka again, I'm going to heave my skull in with a brick.
Fuwatamaka!
If I hear the words Fuwatamaka again, I'm gonna Fuwata your maka.
Someone needs to send Levi like a 3D printed Fuwatamaka tree.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
He just has it as like a desk ornament.
We have the technology, we can build it.
Exactly.
Just have the crystal magnetically levitated in the center.
That would be quite cool.
Now we're making it way cooler than it should be.
It deserves to be, yeah.
Now I want that. Damn.
Yeah. All right, let's do it. Let's do whatever it was that you just said. I heard the word magnets, and I love magnets. Freaking magnets. How do they work?
Exactly.
We'll
Sing
do
it out,
magnets.
posse.
I have a million thoughts about all of these, of course. But
Please tell me.
You know, the fundamental problem with Quest for the Toa is that it's the first thing to happen in the Bionicle timeline, but it is just by its nature very repetitive, and it gets boring about halfway through. Yeah. And I think that's something that all of these writers struggled with. I appreciated how Archangel just, cut out the entire middle of the game and focused on the bits that he was interested in writing.
And also taking creative liberties with things, like instead of just Takua wandering aimlessly through a cave and stumbling on a Toa stone, instead he goes on like a hunting party with the Usalary and has to fight off what was it, like a Kofo Jaga or something?
Did you just say did you just call
you call the Usalary, you silly.
Usul crab, Usalry, Usalary.
Hey.
You
shut up.
I'll allow it.
Who's salary? You salary.
You fight me.
Anyway.
No.
No, but anyway. That's a good point, Joint Dog.
Yeah. So I liked and they were also all taking kind of their own angle to the material, which I appreciated. The Archangel version was like basically it set out to write a prologue to the Matanui Online game, which is the best piece of Bionicle media, and so I think that's a very good angle to take.
Objectively speaking, of course.
Didn't it also like totally remove the Voata Maka tree crystals in that version?
Yeah, that was my one note about it, is like they aren't in there at all.
So that should be Levi's favorite then.
Yes, indeed it was. Yes, it was.
That's why it was your favorite.
I think now that you mention it, in retrospect, it might be just the complete absence of Voata Maka that made me enjoy that story,
Yeah, for me, that was the last one of the three I read, so that's why I noticed it even more. I was like,
right.
No crystal.
Yeah.
What a tree
The Crosswire Geeks version was, it was setting out to be as short and to the point as possible, while summarizing the events of the game, and also reconciling them with Greg's later statement that the Toa Stones were hidden around the island by the Turaga instead of being stolen by Rahi. Which, it's a nice for the deep buried canon purist part of my heart. It is nice to see that addressed. And the big long one, the Myths and Legacy, Michael Larson one, it is the most complete version of the game, and it meets the game on its own terms, right? It incorporates all of the dialogue. It has the Toa Stones be stolen instead of hidden, which I like, because I do love this game, actually. And I don't know, it's nice seeing it done on like a full novel scale, though I totally see how for a normal person reading the same story 3 times in a row, could get a little boring.
Oh dear God, did you just call me normal? Did you just call me normal? I have never been so insulted on this show. I have been called so many insults, but never normal. No. No, you take that back right now.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix it. How do I delete it?
I think that's a really good way to put it. I think that's been everyone has said what they wanted to say about it.
I believe so.
Yeah.
For now, anyways.
Yes, for now. Until Liam does his homework.
When are they going to put Lego Bionicle Quest for the Toa for the Game Boy Advance on Nintendo Switch Online?
Never. Anyway.
Asking the real questions.
We've lost the license.
It's a Game Boy Advance game. There are Game Boy Advance games on Nintendo Switch Online.
But we've lost the license for Bonkle.
It would be naughty.
Yes.
Do it!
For the same reasons the Transformers Fall of Cybertron games have not been re-released.
No! Do it!
Anyway, time for a final story of the afternoon, evening, depending on where you are.
Indeed.
Afternoon evening.
After
It's
an
called
evening.
Masks. The Masks is about our dear friend Taipu during the Bow Rock swarms fiasco
Didn't we
that
do this
lasted
one
at
last
least a
week?
week.
Masks, narrated by Max.
Didn't we?
That's my
didn't
name.
we-
It's an anagram of mask.
Didn't we do this one last recording?
No,
Oh.
they do have like a similar kind of tone. This one is more. The last one was about the confusion between Taipu and Hafu having different masks. This one is more about why Taipu has a different mask and coming to
Yes.
grips with that.
Yeah, he gets this like identity crisis almost, and it's really fascinating.
He has to wear a dead guy's face.
The one that I really like. Yes, I really like this one because it reads a lot like dysphoria.
Yeah, actually.
I absolutely adored this story.
Yeah.
Especially the part where he tries to alter the mask improperly, which could also be read as something else, considering he's using basically charcoal to paint his face.
Oof.
So that's a bit gross.
Let's get into what happened in the story.
Yeah.
We've got our episode title. Do not ignore this. Taipu does blackface.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to think about this.
I don't, because I was trying to make a good point, but the way to make the good point was to say the dumb thing first.
Yeah.
It's like throughout the story, he experiences dysphoria because he doesn't see himself as himself anymore, because he's a core defining part of him is now. Borak literally melted it in front of his eyes.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into it, and we'll explain exactly why.
Indeed.
So exactly what they just said. Taipu is fighting Levak and Lewahi, and his mask gets destroyed by acid from the Levak.
Just quickly, before we do get into the fight, it starts off the story with this lovely little piece of Taipu just in his head, thinking about all the respect and the joy that he has to be on Taipu's on Epu's team.
Yeah.
Even though they're best friends, it says how honored he is. I really like this. Like, this particular story brings in often the internal thoughts going on within the characters, and it gives you such a good look into the minds of the characters for this one. I couldn't help but get lost in this. This one was really, really good.
And there was also an interesting part during the fight where they encounter the Lamatoran taken over by the swarms, and one of them asks, like, why would you interfere with us doing our duty or something like that?
Yeah.
And it's another good sort of subtle reference, knowing what we already know about the series in like future years of the story, hinting at the true nature of the swarms.
They're actually our friends.
Imagine how differently Bionicle could have gone if the Bioreg had just outright explained, no, Motunui literally wants us to do this. You're living on your god's face. We're just shaving.
Look, you're living on Motunui's beard, and we're his razor.
Look! You see those islands? You see those islands that kind of look like fingers poking out of the ocean? They literally are. You're living on a guy. This island is a camouflage so that no one suspects that they're living on a face.
Quite frankly, we have no idea how you even got here.
Yeah, get out of here.
The Barag probably have the keys to
the key to Nongu.
Okay, so isn't there there's a part in Mnog where they dig down deep enough to basically hit on Motunui's actual face, and they can't dig any deeper because what the robot's exterior is made of is harder than anything that they have access to.
Yeah, it's probably like proto steel or something.
Exodrins or whatever the fuck it's called.
Mm.
Exidian.
Exidian, yeah, actually.
Yeah, it's harder than Protodermis, sharper. The point is, they can't get any deeper. The Biorag probably have access into Motunui from there. They could probably have just like, if you just trust us for 5 minutes, we'll just go. We see that you found an entry point into the robot. We'll show you. But no, the Biorag like playing heels the whole time that they're the short time that we actually see them on screen, or rather encounter them. The Toa encounter the Biorag. The Biorag are pretending to be evil for no reason.
They're not very helpful, are they?
Yeah,
they're not very helpful. It's like that. Yeah.
But they're operating under the assumption that like the Toa know pretty much or know enough already. They're confused,
Yeah, I suppose the Toa should know. Is the
This
idea.
is-
They're supposed to know something, but
there's
they
common sitcom shenanigans. It's all a misunderstanding, and if anybody had the sense to just talk to each other with words, this would have all been solved.
No,
that doesn't sound
the
twice.
Borok saga kind of is just a sitcom.
This year for April Fool's Day, Quentin Reviews' his dad uploaded a 38-hour long video on the Beverly Hillbillies.
My friend showed me that the other day.
Yeah, I've watched
Nice.
the whole thing, and literally every episode of the black and white era of Beverly Hillbillies was just characters misunderstanding each other, and if they just sat down and had a conversation, then the plot would be resolved.
Bionicle isn't
Well,
about
then there
talking.
would-
It's
but then
about
there
hitting
wouldn't be
people
an
with
episode.
tools.
But then there wouldn't be an episode, and then there wouldn't be a story, and then there wouldn't. What? Anyway, so that's why I think the Beverly Hillbillies' dad should be in Fortnite. Moving on.
Yes, moving on. So the mask gets destroyed by acid, and he gets a green Pakari as a replacement, which is implied to come from a deadman.
Just quickly again,
Yes.
the
Dead boy.
description of the mask melting is actually horrifying. Like him pulling the mask free and feeling his fingers tingling, and like they feel like they're on fire, and then he gets to see his own face melting. Like that's just quite hardcore.
I'm a little bit disappointed that they didn't also write in that his hand had been replaced.
This also comes back to the thing I brought up earlier about, like, why does the island of Motunui not suffer from the same problem with New Kanoe as Maori Nui does if things like this just happen on the regular?
Well,
They don't happen on the regular.
They'll
This
just
is the bonus.
gesture for the acid pit.
I remembered this just now because ADHD. Maybe they just have like a lot of spares, like a lot of spares.
They intentionally brought a bunch of spares when they migrated.
Like a lot of spares, especially now that everybody's not working with huge machinery, complex machinery, vacuum tubes that shoot you all over the the city.
Yeah.
It's just like Motunui, for all of its hazards, is probably a slightly safer environment in terms of smacking your face in hard enough
You're not
to break
having
it.
back alley disc fights. Although the invention of Coley did indicate that people are just using their faces to hit giant rocks. So
It's okay. But yeah, because
No,
they
that's
did
just-
bring like Kanoka, but the thing is they run out of juice eventually. At this point, they can't make any new Kanohi, but like early on.
But they got enough spare masks that they're probably fine.
It happens rarely enough, you know.
And then later on, they learn how to purify infected masks. It gets
Exactly,
even
that
easier,
too.
and then they get back home.
Makuda's supplying us with masks.
And then it gets
Makuda has all of his masks purified and is like, well, damn, now I need to go on another grocery run back to the city.
Yes.
somebody claimed all the hows. Dang. And now I got.
They were hand painted by me to look all weird and pitted.
I just stopped paying for Uber One.
I made that one chrome how, and they took it. Often took it. Little Power Pack reference for you.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I just throughout the story, Taipu can paint the mask black, but they don't have time because they're.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. Let's hold your horses. We have to get to there first.
Yeah.
So we're looking around. We've pretty much freed the Lematoran. Tamaru finds Taipu and is like, "Oh,
tomorrow?
Who are you?"
Yes, I'm yesterday.
Silly. So Tamaru doesn't recognize Taipu at first, and Taipu's big sad about it. They go for a walk, and he forgets about his sadness.
They also,
Eventually-
I think it was during this segment, they also talked about, specifically in Minogue, when Lewa got a gold mask. And I like that they recontextualized that scene since it was made, non-canon, basically. That it was like a ceremonial thing for Lewa, and it wasn't his actual gold kanoe.
Huh. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's probably
considering he didn't wear it later at the Kini Nui. But yes, I agree. I like that recontextualization. After that, they the Lematoran and the Onomatoran, they seek refuge at Takara, right?
And
this is the part where the weird thing happens.
Yeah, because this is where their lands get destroyed. Their lands have been destroyed, so they got to go somewhere. And at Takara, Taipu runs into Kapuro, which is his old buddy, and Kapuro also doesn't recognize Taipu at first, and Taipu's big sad once again.
And then he starts having a panic attack and trying to use soot to paint his
ashes and stuff.
Soot or ashes or some other problematic pigmentation aside
I'm just gonna have the thumbnail of this episode be that one image of Justin Trudeau but wearing a Picari.
Oh no.
Oh god. It is unfortunate that on the one hand I like
his face is supposed to be black.
I know
that's important here.
I know that his face is supposed to be black. It just feels weird because anyway,
I think I do agree with Josie's contextualization for it being somewhat more like dysphoria, where
it's like dysphoria. He's trying to make himself look more like himself.
Yeah,
exactly.
If we ignore the unfortunate side of that,
but I'm saying it's not even that though, because this is what he's supposed to look like.
It's supposed to be.
It's more like putting on foundation if you got like a pimple.
It's like
his whole face is a massive green zit.
Yeah.
Oh god, his face is full of pus, and he's trying to put on makeup, but he can't put enough makeup on to make his face look normal. There's so much pus.
And I mean, it's literally texturally self-harm, right? Because he is putting his hands into burning embers here, trying to, So if you view it as a trans allegory, that gets messy, right?
It's kind of dark if you really think about it.
Yeah. Yes, but again, this is all very familiar to the trans experience.
And it's even outside of that, it's also, dark in its own right. If you think that, like, one, he's wearing the face of a dead guy, and two, throughout the entire story, the most it's ever addressed is just to say, maybe don't think too hard about it.
Yeah,
that's sad.
Anapu doesn't treat Taipu like a friend in this story. He treats him like a fellow soldier, which technically that's what he's going with, what's happening right now. But, you know, it is kind of cold. Like, hey, friend, I replaced your face fell off, so I replaced it with the face of a dead guy. Don't think about it.
So yeah, so you know he after Kapura sees that he's trying to make his mask the correct color,
Whereas, like, you know that there's paint, right?
Yeah.
Taipu does not think. He
Taipu
Exactly.
does not think. Taipu only lift.
yes. So yeah,
Whereas,
so they go to the store.
There's less toxic paint, right?
Yeah, so they go to the store and they get the black paint, and he corrects the color of the mask to how he's supposed to look, and that's cool,
Yeah,
Indeed.
yeah.
And now paint
So-
is canon.
right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So then they go to Kokoro, right? Because the Komotora need help defending the GD place,
Indeed.
and they fight a bunch of Borok.
Indeed, they do.
It's a
Indeed, they do.
big dang fight scene. They're really sick with it. They're cool. Taipu saves the day.
And everybody recognizes him.
Exactly, and it's also that because he feels like he's sort of like earned what the shape of the Bakari is kind of like culturally
Yeah,
associated with.
The
Yeah.
Bakari, because so the Bakari means something to the Matoran. So maybe, I think throughout the story, in addition to having a different mask altogether, a different mask and specifically a Bakari is what's throwing off.
Yeah, because like the
Like,
contextualization of it was like the Bakari often it represents like heroes and really important,
Strength and
strong,
bravery
brave figures in Matoran society, and he does not feel like he is like that
Deserving of it.
until
even-
this part of the story when he begins to realize through his own actions and people's responses to his deeds that maybe this is fitting after all.
Yeah,
In fact,
even
prior to this, he more aligns himself with TuragaNuva than anyone like, say, Onapu or Onua.
Yeah, because
At the end, Type was like, "This is how. Maybe now I'm like how Lego intended me to be."
Yeah. And then Kopeka shows up and is like, "Wow, wait, maybe I should also have the exact same character arc as you."
I love that. Just like that
Off-screen.
subtle recontextualization of that too.
Because
yeah.
Kopeka is also wants to be. Wait, no, he's the opposite. He started out with a Komao, and then he's like, "I want to do the opposite of what you did. I want to have a mask to honor my Turaga instead of the new thing." It's
Also,
Yes.
since we're talking like the fight with the Borok here, I'd also like to briefly shout out the fact that they just straight up stab the Krana to death.
It's
That's how you take
And
care of
they
it. Wait.
bleed.
He doesn't even just stab it. He takes his shield and he just bangs it right in. Oh my goodness.
Pounding
Like that
it.
one Verano animation from years
I
back.
love
Pounding
that.
it.
I loved it. I loved it.
Yes, I like that too.
I just love stabbing bugs and making them scream.
Oh my goodness.
I do
More
like
bug.
that this also ties up some loose ends from the Borok animations too. That's very well put together, I think.
Yes, you're right. You're 100% correct. But I was gonna say something. Shoot,
I'm
what was I gonna
always
say?
correct.
That's not true.
He's always correct, except when he's not.
Oh yes, Kopek is the one person who was able to recognize Taipu.
Yeah.
Immediately because of the way he walked.
And the way he used his walk, he's a ladies' man.
No
Time to talk.
So yeah. Then later, back in Onukoro, after everything's been fixed now, Hafu is visiting, and
I love this so much.
and Taipu sees him and is like, "Oh wow, that guy's got my old mask. Let's talk to him." And he doesn't recognize Hafu.
It rounds it all out so well.
And this dovetails beautifully with the Hafu, Taipu and Hafu and Kamen, those stories from the previous recording.
Yeah.
Which is great because I think, were they written by the same people or were they different people? I feel like there was different people behind those ones.
Different.
Yeah, because it was Tanok Trapple that did those.
Guested with us.
Yeah, that's right, too.
Which is not possible here because this man has disappeared 5 years ago.
I just found it's really good how those stories meld together, even being written by completely different people, and neither of them were written specifically for Myths and Legacy either, so I don't think they even had influence on each other necessarily, although I could be wrong.
It's just a nice coincidence, yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And it does go to show, like, how well the characters of Bionicle are developed, that two completely different writers with two completely different ideas can make two stories that are so thematically fitting with each other that it feels like they're both from the same thing, you know?
Yeah, that feels like some...
Yeah, it's like poetry, they rhyme.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that brings us to the end of Masks, doesn't it?
Indeed.
Yeah, it does.
I love it.
This was my favorite read of the entire episode this week.
Mm.
I have now decided that Taipu is also trans. Have a nice day. Have a nice day, losers. Not you losers.
Like
not you losers. I'm talking to the other losers. The losers who don't like it when I call people trans.
I think the fact that this brings in themes such interesting adult themes of even things like prejudice with the judging based on the mask rather than the Matoran behind it. The idea of masks coming with identity crises was excellent to explore. The idea of the tree speak even. The tree speak is super on brand, but it's not obnoxious.
Right. I think
this is the one time someone said something in tree speak. I was like, I don't know what they're saying.
I think a lot of this is like, if I had to take a guess, and obviously guessing is the only thing we can really do here since the author is MIA, but I would have to say that the inspiration for this was probably partially inspired by the early works of 2006, when the Matoran were going through Karzani's lair and they had their masks replaced, and they sort of had a little hint of an identity crisis about that, but it was never really expanded upon because we got to wrap this up and make them Toa now.
Yes, but those masks were ugly.
And I do like how, it writes things like prejudice and trans allegories in a very... It's not heavy-handed in how it's written. It doesn't beat you over the head with it. It's very natural.
There is nothing...
Might even be a coincidence.
Yeah.
I do like beating cis people over the head with my messages, though.
Yeah, no. Wow. This story was just incredible.
Indeed.
Yeah.
joint-Dogg, do you have anything to say?
Yeah, my favorite part of the story was when Taipu says, "We did it, we saved Kokoro," and does a little dance. It's
so that one SpongeBob meme. We did it. We did it, Kopik. We saved Kokoro.
That's very fitting. That's very fitting of the character
that's
very fitting as the character as I see him.
Yeah. Yeah,
He's just a big dumb jock.
And I liked, seeing half of the Chronicler Company together again. That's always fun. And I
love the Chronicler Company.
I think the characters were all
the Cronkle Donks.
The Cronkle Donks. I think the characters were all really well realized. Maybe this is just because of how we're recording this, but I think the way Taipu beats the Barak is just by throwing a bunch of boulders, which is incredibly Quest for the Toa.
And perfectly on character for Taipu as well.
Also, yes.
Rocks?
Yeah,
you got it? It's yours, friend. My friend. You?
Yes.
Have it. Gotta have it.
All right. Well,
friendship.
Is that it?
I think so. And we're an hour ahead of schedule this week.
We did.
Hey! This will make everything much easier.
Now we can spend
I didn't totally ruin this week's recording. Woo!
Now we can spend the next hour talking about the intricacies of the ball wiggler again.
No, we'll just repeat the words Watamaka crystal for an hour.
Yeah.
Watamaka crystal, Watamaka crystal,
crystal.
Watamaka crystal, Watamaka crystal.
Anyway,
Naughty Josies get put in the Watamaka wiggler.
Yes. So Liam, what do we have for next time?
That is a very good
Watamaka
question.
crystal.
Next time we will be reading Tale of Onua, Tale of Pohatu, which I believe are based off Legend of Motunui, The Bow-Rock Wars, Into the Web, Relevance, and Tale of TuragaNuva, with guest Bob the Doctor returning yet again, who from what I heard is actually quite excited to talk about the behind-the-scenes stuff in the previous episode he was in and is very much looking forward to coming back.
Cool.
Fantastic.
Well, hell yeah, boy.
I'm glad I didn't scare off one of our guests.
How could you? We all love you, Josie.
I don't believe you.
All right. Well, in that case, I guess it's time to say goodbye to our lovely audience.
It is
Um,
indeed.
This has been your boy Max Dudek with my cohorts.
I'm a cohort.
I'm your cats, and if you're a cis person that would like to be beaten over the head with trans messaging,
You can call this number at...
call this number and then just Google the sound of a fox screaming.
Email me at this web zone.
Email me at this web zone if you want a trans allegory.
Max, I don't want to be a cohort anymore. Can I be a concubine instead? That was so quick.
I am taken.
That was the most I've heard some fucking shit on this show, but that was like the most random, unhinged thing I've ever heard you just blurt out, Levi.
You can be that.
I'm
You
taken.
can be.
Not
you
allowed.
You can be that if you want.
I gotta get the spray bottle. Ugh. Anyway,
The spray
wiggle.
bottle.
Yeah.
The spray bottle is filled with
No.
pheromones.
all right. That's the end, everyone.
Yes.
Thank you, Joint Dog, once again for joining us. It was lovely
Thank
to
you
I
for
have you.
can be
having me.
weird at the end of the recording. That's the easiest part to edit. Fuckity fuck.
Oh, we can say fuck now?
No, we can't. I have not ended yet.
Yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
it's a legal obligation. We have to say fuck at least 27 times at the end.
All right.
Well,
Goodbye,
thank
everyone.
you for having me.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Indeed.
It was good. It was good. Goodbye.
Significant
Bye-bye.
shrinkage.